Good morning. Grand Rising. This is Volo Modulus Tautology. Coming into you on a Monday, June 30th. I'm recording this at 4:40 in the morning. I meant to share a video yesterday. I'm in my own space, and I don't like calling, me. I'm trying to call them programs, trying to bring some knowledge, wisdom, and understanding your way, so that everybody can achieve freedom, justice, and equality. Now, I had people attack me before saying don't use the lyrical flow of the seven, or the gods and earths, or you go by many names. Fat Joe has came out his mouth calling us black radicals, but Fat Joe was actually talking about foundational black Americans. But he was directing his beef at the Black Authority, who is Jason Black, and then Tariq Nasheed is another one that they all attack, and they don't mess with Professor Black Truth, because Professor Black Truth ain't no joke. I'm more of a tautological epistemologist. That's the knowledge that I'm using. That's the title, I guess, or whatever, the label, whatever. Shout out to Il Product, who tells me all the time, I don't do labels, but he's the Don, so always give him the respect of the Don. He is the head of the family. The Don is the head of the family. Of course, Dada laugh at that notion, in his elder age. But we all just trying to stay safe and live one day at a time. And that's why I say, good morning, grand rising to you all. Every day is God's will, and give thanks for it. So I have to start with I'm doing all these because I want to make sure I get all my things in order. We have to begin with copyright, fair use, copyright 1976 laws for educational purposes. That's what makes these things political, right? It's not me saying, study your Constitution, study the Declaration of Independence, study, right? Just do that on your own free will. That way you know what the actual rights are, not the laws. The laws is God-given. That's the part that I keep pushing on people. Not pushing on them, but like, that's where I stand, Like, the power is God's word, right? The power is God's laws, God's commandments. So I start with the first commandment saying love God, and there it is. All right, now we can proceed with the subject at hand on what our rights are as American citizens, or whatever, citizenship, and what it means to be living on the land that's under our feet, and how the governance works, and what we can do to change the governance. So yes, I'm running for mayor of Philadelphia. I ain't really advertising it yet because that's another 2 years off, and we see what's going on in New York. So make sure y'all get out there and vote. You don't have to vote. Like, that's also a citizenship right. Like, nah, I don't want to vote because, and then you can critique the candidates that's there. Like, we ain't got a problem with that. But don't attack people because it's because one, I'm saying that Donald J. Trump is the most entertaining president of all time. That's how I see it. So there's no reason to hate him, but then people come at me some you a slave, a mental slave, being very disrespectful, right? Like they want me to put hands on them for being disrespectful. And it's like, dude, why do you want me to murder maggots for being ignorant? Like, and I'm talking about, you being ignorant towards me, like, so no, I voted for Jill Stein in 2016. I keep saying this. Then 2020, he was already the president, might as well finish it off, right? But nah, y'all didn't want to finish it off, right? That's what you came with that Joe Biden, right? And I was telling y'all then, that's ignorant, Like he's dumb as a doorknob. Like why would you want to change it? Instead, we'd have been over with Trump and moving on in our lives. But instead, all his supporters just waited for him to come back, and now he's the president again. And it's just like, all right, cool. Now what I need him to do is cut the check. Like that's what I need the Democrats to do. Tell Trump to come check the check. Like y'all have to admit that what Biden did messed up the whole economy, but they still don't want to. They don't want to admit that. All right, they still want to say that Kamala Harris was the solution to what Biden started that was helping the country, when clearly what Biden did completely destroyed our country systemically and socioeconomically. I'm just keeping it 100. So, but yeah, I like to start my things with hip hop, because hip hop is an American culture created by the children of the 1960 civil rights movement. That make it political. Hip hop is really a spiritual movement. It's a knowledge movement. That's what it is. Is a creative community, consciousness, and culture. And we've been saying this since day one. And that's when you get the people that's saying it's not that. But see, that's not what Fat Joe. And I'm just picking on Fat Joe because he's my brother. I ain't got a problem with Fat Joe, but he still has a lot to learn, because even he's bigging up for the Mexicans, and it's like, dude, you know what I'm saying? I got Puerto Rican friends, I have Dominican friends, and they really don't mess with them essays either. I'm just keeping it 100, right? It's like they want us to go out there in California and fight for the essays, and it's like, those are Mexicans, those aren't Puerto Ricans and Dominicans like that. Like that's more of an East Coast thing, right? The essays is a West Coast thing, because Texas is right there. We get that. All right, but they came up here to the East, and it's, they want to put themselves, they want us to put them ahead of, the Dominicans and Puerto Ricans that came here in the 1800s. Nah, they came, 18, 19, early 1900s, and you know what I mean? And it's like, well, you came in, nah, dude, I've been here. Like, I'm a foundational Black American. And the fact that I got to keep repeating that, it is getting frustrating. And shout out to Big C. He told me to leave it alone. All right, leave it alone. Stop talking about them coming at my family. Like, you coming at my family like right now. And that's where y'all kind of crossing the line. So, but let me get back in my peace mode, because so this is fair use. This is a new kind of segment that I'm doing to these things, and because it's like, all right, y'all want the word? I'm gonna share y'all the word. And first, let me say shout out to CL Smooth, because I forgot. I started this one yesterday, and I forgot CL Smooth name, and it was because this is something new that I'm implementing. Like, all this is live and in fresh time and off the top of the dome. Like, I'm kind of freestyling when I'm and I'm freestyling because I'm doing a lot of right and stuff like that. But when I just start, all right, it's together. This is the word, and I transform into that lyrical monster. Is going to come at you real fast, even if I did say wrote it down before or whatever, or I studied something that was written down before. Like, I studied RZA's, the pre-existence of the mathematical biochemical equations. Like, I studied that. That's why I can just come off the, and then transform it to earth, air, fire, water. Right? I start throwing it to the elements and taking it to new dimensions, just using a sample of what RZA gave to me as a teacher. Like, I give RZA mad respect as a teacher, even though we about the same age. I think he might be got me by. I don't even think I might be older than RZA. I don't even know, but whatever. That's where we're coming together as as Generation X. Generation X is 1960 to 1979. I want to make sure I'm going to get these dates straight because Barack Obama is not a baby boomer, right? Kamala Harris is not a baby boomer. Those are my parents. Now, Whoopi Goldberg is a baby boomer, but she is, I consider her the first Def Comedy Jam comedian, right? She's the one that went to and made a Broadway show and brought a little bit of the H-Rap Brown culture to being a comedian on Broadway, and she inspired other comedians to do the same. So why we give her props in that. Yeah, I got Xenobladed Chronicles running in the back, but I'll get into that too in a minute. But here we go. Y'all ready for this? All right, cool. Let's do this. All right, here we go.
Landed from the heavens on the 7.
All right, did y'all peep that, right? Landed from the heaven on the 7. All right, fair use, right? And I'm chopping it up, setting it for educational purposes, right?
My presence is a gift. I was destined like a reverend.
My presence is a gift. I was destined like a reverend.
No weapon formed against my sixth sense is a blessing.
You peeped that, right? No weapon formed against me. My sixth sense is a blessing.
Congregation get a fifth and make usher confessions.
Right? You peeped that? Congregation get a fifth and make usher confessions. Get a little bit of drink on. And we about to, make some confessions like Usher, right? Yeah, that's dope right there. I like that bar. That's why I get, this is common in P Rock John. So this is kind of quote unquote the new Mecca and the Soul Brother, right? So and shout out again to CL Smooth. And we acknowledge that there's, because we do want to see CL Smooth and Pete Rock get back together, right? But there's, not beef, but and Pete Rock just, hey, I moved on. CL moved on, right? But we still got those two. I think they made 2 albums. So this is technically the third, Mecca and the Soul Brother. It's just that he replaced him with Common, and Common is top 5. You know what I mean? Like that bar, that's a top 5 bar right there. All right. Even and it's not a diss at Usher. It's hey, we're like the movie Sinners, right? And I still haven't seen that yet, but I am gonna check that out. But I like to watch my horror movies around Halloween. I'm superstitious like that, I guess. All right, I don't want to watch it around Easter. Like that's dumb, right? But anyway, we got back to the. All right, here we go.
The devil is a lie. Angels made investments.
What? The devil is a lie. Angels made investments.
There is a God. You seen a black woman's essence?
There is a God. You see a black woman's essence? What? Now it's like, is he simping? Like, nah, he's not simping, yo. Right? You simping for saying that he's simping, right? Yeah, I wish Common and right, that was one of my, I was rooting for Common and what was the tennis? See how I get when I I'm focused on something else and it's like it's really that was their relationship. Venus, Serena, right? Him and Serena was a couple or whatever, and she was a couple with Drake. So luckily she ain't go with Drake, right? That's why she was dancing at the Super Bowl. See how it all connects and comes together in the end, right? They not like us, you know what I'm saying? They not like us right there now. All right, are y'all ready for this? All right, here we go.
I've been on the quest even when the world questioned.
I've been on the quest even when the world questioned.
My testimony came from all the testing. 1, 2.
I like that one too. My testimony came from all the testing. 1, 2. I ain't know he did it like that, but that's dope. That's dope right there.
I dream in words that come true.
I dream in words that come true.
For the have-nots, there's things to undo.
For the have-nots, there's things to undo. Ew.
Windows of opportunity, let the sun through.
Windows of opportunity, let the sun through.
I'm a prodigy and prodigal son too.
I'm a prodigy and prodigal son too. Yeah, sometimes you gotta go back home, you know what I mean? Go back home to see mom, right?
I return home with things that I learned.
I return home with things that I learned. Ew.
What's known is hard to
was known as hard to earn, scars and burns. That's a shout out to Guru right there. That's dope right there. All right, Hard to Earn is a classic Gangstar album. But here you go.
I guess hard times requires hard mind.
I guess hard times require hard minds.
I watch like a rollie and stay on God's time.
I watch like a rollie and stay on God's time. Let's repeat that one more time.
I watch like a rollie and stay on God's time.
There is a God, true living God. There is a God in the spirit of you. Shout out to Hudson, Jennifer Hudson. That's Jennifer Hudson singing, and I don't want to mess it up. But I had to start with there because you know how they say what they say. One thing about music, when it hits, you feel no pain. White folks say it controls your brain. We know better than that. That's game. Dead Prez. Oh, jeez. I can go into it on and on. How much time did I put in so far? Let's see here. 16 minutes. All right, cool. I'm doing good. I really don't want to do 30 minutes, but I can clearly do 30 minutes easily. Just off of that little bit that I shared right there. Because clearly that song right there, they want to call that gospel hip hop, right? They want to call this gangster rap. They want to call that gangster hip hop. They want to call this and notice how I did the, because one gangster is about what? Rapping, right? The other, I guess, being braggadocious, and the gangster hip hop would be, here's a story about, a young Michael trying to be big for his family, and he became the Don, right? And then notice that his whole family got destroyed trying to be the richest man in the world type thing, you know what I mean? And that's the Godfather. Everybody knows the Godfather movie. I've been on my Star Trek tip. Yeah, like I shared that yesterday too. A little bit of Star Trek, and I was talking about the protagonist, antagonist. But I was just talking about the three as being the main protagonists. Captain Kirk being the judge, and then you have Spock and Dr. McCoy being his, you see, a movie that just popped in my head was Animal House. And there's a scene in the Animal House where the guy was, fondling with a young lady, right? And they was, taking too much drinks and stuff, and she passed out. And there it is, right? That's something that happens in college, and it's like one side popped up was the angel, poof, don't do that. The other side was the devil, poof, do that, right? One said don't do it, the other one said do it, right? So he took her home. He was a gentleman. That's a beautiful thing. That was the moral to the story. Now, when we fast forward to a great movie, which is one of my favorite movies of all times, Higher Learning, the dude was getting drunk, whatever, and then he forced himself on the girl. But how far did he get? Did he get to second base, third base, fourth base, whatever, a home run or whatever? From them drinking and you know what I mean. But she broke free and whatever, and it didn't happen. Now there's been a lot of cases of it happening, and yes, that's breaking the law. So this is my advice to all the incoming freshmen, even sophomores that's their their second year or whatever. It's like, all right, you made it through that first year. Still you got to be careful out there, right? That will ruin your life. You know what I mean? I've seen too many brothers, when I started the first year, it was one of the things that kept me from really partying and crossing that line. You know what I mean? Plus, my moral upbringing from my parents. Shout out to them all the time. But y'all got to be careful out there because that's one of the main. That's one of the, for men, because we are the aggressors, right? So y'all got to be real careful with that drinking and partying too much, and then find yourselves around, and then she goes and files a complaint, and it completely ruins your life forever and ever and ever and ever, right? So we're trained and taught that the marriage is what ruins your life forever and ever and ever. Now the marriage is a beautiful thing. That's one of the 10, right? Befriend, marry. That's one of the 10, right? So no, I endorse marriage 100, right? Now the issue is hey, you got two of them in front of you, like one at a time, rodeo, one at a time, right? Befriend them one at a time. And, it's that's been the quest of many men to have multiple wives. But anybody out there with multiple baby mamas know that that's major issue, right? So that's why I kind of laugh at the two. What is his name? Who's Nick Cannon, right? Now, and I got to go. Who is Nick Cannon from from an old Dave Chappelle joke? Who is Nick Cannon, right? Nick Cannon, we all know that Nick Cannon got multiple mothers, baby mamas, right? And then so does the I can't remember his name right now, but the difference is Cat Williams, right? Cat Williams has multiple, but he only has one biological child. All the rest of them are his adopted children. So he adopted the children. I'm sure he still has a relationship with the children's mothers, but only one biological child, and that's his wife. So whether or not they did it at a temple, if they did it at a church, if they did it at the courthouse, that's between him and his wife. So my parents, they actually went to the courthouse, meaning they eloped. And they going on 55 years maybe this year. They up there, or they might be going on 60. I don't know. They put a lot of years in. So, and because we just celebrated 50 not too long ago, and it was they made it a big event, and all the family was there and I had a ball, and they allowed me to MC. My parents usually don't like me to MC because I get on the mic and it's like I don't put it down, because now I'm coming at you with the, I'm trying to sneak in some of that knowledge, that that mathematics, that's next level. So because that's what I really want to put in, and that's what I put in with my son. But we talk about video games all the time, so that's why I really I'll do a program like this. And I gave y'all the moral of the thing, and what I'm calling this show is like I'm running Xenoblades in the background, but I'm calling this episode Chronicles of the. I'm still trying to put it together. You'll see it in the thing. Chronicles of the Xenophobic. Right? They already messed it up, right? Chronicles of the anti-xenophobic. Xenobladed Xionist, right? Because that's there it is, and now they become political again, right? Because you start talking about xenophobia and the Zionist and because they come over here and they real hypocritical. In fact, I'm gonna share a cartoon real quick right now, and let me get that in there. What time am I at? I'm already going over. I'm already at 23 minutes. So yeah, I done got away from the cartoon. I'm gonna share a little bit of a cartoon, freedom tunes. So this is another fair use, and I'm only going to share half of it this time, and I'll try to share the other half maybe tomorrow or later on today or the next time. But I'm going to share a link to because I do want y'all to go to the actual content creators and watch it over there and hit the like button and subscribe to them. Because it's a funny video. It's a little bit of, it's just a little bit of South Park kind of humor, because they modeled their program after South Park, but it is on some, can black people be racist too type of thing, and that's why it's funny, because that's the moral to the, and that's why the moral of my, me calling this show, because we start talking about Zionism, xenophobia, and then Xenoblade, because Blade is usually referred to as the gay boy, right? Is a blade in our vernacular, And so that's why it's funny about Xenoblade and you know, I mean, I'm giving it to you. I'm giving you the truth, right? 'Cause this is how we talk and put it together. But just because we be like, yo, dude, a blade or he's gay or whatever, doesn't mean that I'm homophobic. Like that's where we getting on like, yo, like, and then when you see it on TV and they talking about the homophobia over in Iran is worse than the homophobia here, is what basically got Whoopi Goldberg fired. And I'm just like, oh, Whoopi, no, the problem is your last name, your stage name. You done took on the stage name of your oppressor, and you still trying to be the pro-black militant that you were, because that's why you took on that name, to be the pro-black militant in Hollywood, and they using it against you. Like that's why it's funny, right? Instead, cut the check, hit the like button, subscribe. Because you know I'm dropping that reel over here. So let me share this real quick, and I'll be right back. All right? Here we go.
And that concludes today's lesson on racism.
Teacher, can I be racist?
Oh no, black people can't be racist.
I can be whatever I want to be.
A boy who wouldn't let society define him.
You can't be racist.
Black people can too be racist!
And a coach who believed in him.
You want to be a real racist?
Can't drive. Hops the border. Crashes planes.
A bitter past.
You were the biggest racist I knew before that tweet got you canceled. Now you're trying to live vicariously through this kid? Why does everyone think this is about them? It's about him!
Why do I have to practice today? The other racist kids got a day off.
Don't you get it? You're black! You're gonna have to be twice as racist to get recognized half as often!
Racist? More like prejudice, but without institutional power.
Why are you filling my boy's head with nonsense about being racist?
Because I'm his coach.
I am his mother!
And why don't you believe in him?
None of this happens in Japan.
Every
I love that cartoon right there. That's next level. And this is where people get a little hypocritical, right? People get a little hypocritical towards that. And then the second part shows a little bit of, Dave Chappelle and being surrounded by, the KKKs and you get a little hypocritical, because then it's cool for Spike Lee to make Black Klansman, and it was a good movie. It's an alright movie. It's not, I wouldn't say well, he only got like 10 movies, so I guess it is top 10, right? You only can make so many movies. When you make too many movies, you regurgitating garbage, right? When you make your top 10 movies, you want to have top 10 movies. All right? When you're trying to make 30 movies, you're going to make a lot of garbage. And that's what's going on with Tyler Perry. He makes a lot of garbage, right? It's like Medea 20. Like, come on, dude. That's why you got a bunch of garbage, like a bunch of, right? And then wonder why people respond in the way that they respond, right? That's what happened to Marvel, MCU. It's like it was so much garbage. And that's why, whatever, y'all, I'm done with y'all, right? Because all y'all doing is spewing garbage. Now, I do like to promote going to the movies, and we're still trying to go to the movies. I suggested Superman, and I'm hoping that me, my dad, my brothers, and the sons, and we can go see Superman together. So we're trying our best to put that together and go see Superman opening weekend, if not the next weekend or day or whatever, and check that out, and because I think that's the movie that I want to see. That's the movie, right, that might change the DCU back to something dope. The MCU, that Fantastic Four, I can't do the Silver Surfette. That's whack, right? It's Silver Surfer needed his own movie first, right? When we and therein is what the issue is, because whatever. Like we can argue and debate that all day, but yeah, it is finally out that LGBTQIA plus .pdf files, DEI, anti-P Diddy, that's all cheat codes so that they can latch on to what foundational Black Americans have built on this land over here. Because we built this nation. Foundational Black Americans did, right? And I'm not saying that white people didn't help, right? That's not what I'm saying. But you'll notice the xenophobes, right? And I'm calling them xenophobes because they come over and then the immigrants come over here and start talking like they Western psychological ideologists, like they on some, and then we already have that knowledge because we study, as a foundational Black American, our Black historian, our first Black historian is Carter G. Woodson, and wrote a book talking about the miseducation of the Negro. And from that, we got a term called the educated Negro, right? And it's like, well, if it's the educated Negro, what is it? The educated African. Exactly, right? The educated African coming over here talking about some Western psychological ideology, and look at these rappers. See, the problem is that these rappers is listening to this rap music all day, and it's the culture, and that's why hip hop look at them like, here we go, we about to come at they next with this Eastern philosophical methodology, right? Is it Islam? I self Lord master to bring disaster to evil fractions? Yes, that's what Common in the Soul Brother, the Mecca in the Soul Brother represents, right? Black Muslims, and that's why we looking at Fat Joe like, yo, don't come out your mouth again with that, yo. Like, you know what I mean? In fact, because Fat Joe, they're Black radicals. Like, no. We that Eastern philosophical methodology like you, my brother, right? You know the truth, right? You know these immigrants is coming over here with their noses up to us and acting like, and then the government's giving them the money to buy the businesses in our neighborhoods, and we come and we Patreon them, and then we open up a store next door and they don't Patreon us, or they don't give us jobs at their store, or we give them a job at our store, and if we're working for the corporation, what the corporation do? All right, bye-bye, Black foundational Black American, I don't need you, I got the immigrant now, right? And I'm gonna pay him less to do what you was doing. Now you gotta do what? You gotta be gentrified, you gotta find a new job, you gotta start all over again from day zero. Is y'all starting to understand what I'm spitting over here? These are the real lyrics right here. Because the real commandments, the real laws, that's the actual power. But when you say that, right, or if you repeat the Declaration of Independence, people act like, I don't know nothing about the Declaration, because they don't speak American. That's English and language arts. They these educated Africans, and then they think they better than, right? They're the racists. They're the racists. And then we have to come together. We can't let white supremacy tear us apart. Like, yo, nah, we got them. We got the white boys. The white boys, you know what I mean? They trying to learn how to do hip hop. Like, they hear my bars and they like, yo, I might have to hit the like button on that right there. They the ones that's sharing this word. Like, yo, I wish he would play some Xenobladed Chronicles because it's a dope game. I know I'm trying to get my son to play it. He don't, right? He want to play Sonic the Hedgehog all the time. But I mess with Sonic the Hedgehog. So maybe, one day this week I have him over there. He won't be playing this game because he don't want to play this. But he wants to really start with platformers. So we'll play a couple platformers. 10-1, one of them be Sonic. Just to prove that his Sonic the Hedgehog dominance. And then I'm going to try to teach him more about the hardware. Because we trying to, hit the like button, subscribe, share. We trying to get some Switch 2s. So donate, send some money to that Cash App. And once we get the Switch 2s, what we can do is we can link our Switch 2s to our Switch 1s. And then it'd be just like what I have in my hand right now, my game, my Wii U. See, I'm playing this off my Wii U. So this is also available on the Switch 1. Hence, you can play this on your Switch 2 TOO. love God, respect Lord, seek wisdom, Sabbath day, fatherhood, mother. I say it like that because, you know, mom be bugging sometimes, but I love mom. You only get one, right? Right? You are the miracle for your mother. Number 6 is, what we doing here? Live life, right? Why do I got to say do not kill? Because you're on the same mental level as Cain, right? Do not kill, Cain. Don't kill your brother, right? Now live your life, yo. But y'all want to argue whether or not Cain choked him to death? Did Cain hit him in the back of the head with a rock and then bashed him 100 times with the rock? Or did Cain just trip him? He fell, hit his head, and he walked away. And since he didn't stop the bleeding, nurture his brother back to good health, right? Because that's a sin with what God was telling him, my brother's keeper, right? But we have to reread that over and over and over again, and y'all gonna still tell me that living life ain't the commandment? Befriend, marry. What's after that? Give, receive. True, false. Compassion, peace, and happiness. Let's love God, our Father, all the time. Hip hop, life, love one. That's God is love. Hip hop is life. Time is holy. Money is nothing more than that fourth dimensional illusion that really doesn't exist. Stop believing in this fake, fraudulent racism in the form called white supremacy that's systemically, socioeconomically, macro or micro. Economics is nothing more than the art of making the most out of life. Now that's truly hip hop. One.